All right, so now we are going to be walking through question one, part B. So this one is going to be having us write the dog walk shift method. That is a mouthful, but we are going to be writing this one together. So let's take a look at what this will look like. So this is going to take in two parameters. The first is going to be the start hour and the end hour. And we're going to be walking dogs during that range. And it mentions that it is inclusive. And we're going to be returning the total amount earned. So they give us an example. If we are going to be doing a dog walking shift from 14 to 16, this will actually make up the numbers 14, 15, and 16 because it's inclusive. So it says it gives us a few constraints or a few stipulations. So for every hour, the base pay will be $5 per dog walked, right? That is an important part. And we're going to be getting a bonus of $3 if at least one of these conditions are true. So the first condition is that we walk max dogs. The next condition is that if we are walking between the hours of 9 and 17, inclusive. So that means 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way including 17. And then we have a table here that describes an example of what that looks like. So on the 7th hour, with our instance variable being max number of dogs, this variable or this method here, number of dogs walked, is 3. In this case, we walk 3 dogs, 3 times 5, 15, and we're going to get a bonus because we walked max dogs. For these 9 and 10, we are going to get bonuses because we are walking during peak hours. So those are the few examples that it gives us. It says that we will be assuming that the walk dogs method that we ran previously or wrote previously works as intended, which means that you will not get credit, you will not get points off if that does not work as expected, right? But this also tells us that we need to use walk dogs appropriately. So it does give us a hint in that we will be using this to accomplish our task at hand. So let's take a look at this question together. Okay, so same deal here. I like to kind of write out what it is we're going to be doing. So we are going to be walking dogs between the start hour and an hour, inclusive, right? Every hour, the base pay is going to be $5, and this is actually going to be per dog, right? And then we will receive a bonus of $3 if max dogs are walked, or if we walk between the hours of 9 and 17 inclusive. So let us take a look at what this will look like. So the first thing is we're going to declare a variable that's going to represent the total amount, right, that we are earning. Typically, we represent money, as my students know, using doubles, right? So we can get something like 35.2, right? We want change. In this case, however, you will notice that the numbers that they give us, $5 and $3, are all whole numbers. And it tells us that we want to return an integer. So this is the only reason why we're going to actually declare money in this sense as an integer as opposed to a double. So the next thing that we can do, because we want to actually go through the ranges inclusive, I'm going to actually opt for a for loop. You can also use a while loop. That is totally up to you. But this will just make it, for me, a little bit more cleaner. So I'm going to start this current hour. It's going to start at start hour. Then we're going to iterate until we get to end hour. The reason I'm doing less than or equals is because it's inclusive. That means that I want to include end hour as a part of this. And then I'm just going to increment current hour by 1, right? So this the standard template for loop. If you have my cheat sheet, like my students, they all had access to the cheat sheet, then this is going to be directly off of their copy and paste. So the next thing that we're going to do is go ahead and get a variable and get how many dogs that we are going to be walking. So in this case, we have a method called walk dogs that just so happens to return the number of dogs that we are going to be walking during that hour. And it already has the logic embedded in it, whether or not we're going to do the number of available dogs or max dogs. It does that for us. So we already took care of that for us. The next thing is that we need to actually calculate the base pay. So the base pay, we can actually do total money, right? We can add that to dogs walked. So we know how many dogs we walked here, and we can multiply that by 5. This is going to give us the standard base pay for that particular hour for the number of dogs walked. So we've already gotten through half of the problem at this point. The next thing that we need to do is actually account for our bonus condition. So we need to determine, do we get that extra $3 or do we not? We all want the exact amount of money that we are supposed to be earned. So in this case, we're going to have a condition. The first condition that we have here, right, we will get a bonus if max dogs are walked. So in order to determine that, we can just check if dogs walked is equal to max dogs. If it is, great, we have earned the bonus. But we have a second condition, and it says that either or. So in this case, we're going to have an or statement, and I'm going to wrap this in parentheses because this is going to be our range. So if current hour is greater than or equal to 9, right, that means that we are in this range, we're above 9, including 9. And if current hour is less than or equal to 17. So in order for both of these things to be true, we have to land at a number like, let's say 10. So 10 is greater than or equal to 9, but 10 is also at the same time less than or equal to 17. And that would mean that we are operating in peak hours and we would be earning that bonus. So if either one of these conditions are true, then we are going to add that extra $3, which we can do shorthand. You could also do total money equals total money plus 3, whatever it is you choose to do, but we want to add 3. And then what we are going to do at the conclusion of this for loop, we are simply going to return the amount of money that we calculated. And this is going to be how we do part B. You notice that we are using the walk dogs method. Regardless of what it is that we wrote before, we are assuming that it works as intended. So that way they make it a little bit easier to kind of give you guys points, as many points as possible, and not make each problem dependent on one another. So catch me in the next video. We're going to be doing question 2. If you guys have any questions about question 1, just shoot me a message, or if you need a little bit of more explanation, I'd be happy to share it. So good luck, and hope you guys got something similar or got